Today in Conversations That Convert, we're going to be talking about if you want more and better leads, don't run ads, but do this instead. This is part 4 of 4.
Welcome to Conversations That Convert. Every week, we'll spend about 10 to 15 minutes tackling relevant lead generation, marketing, and sales topics for remodelers, home improvement companies, and home builders. Conversations That Convert is brought to you by Builder Lead Converter, your perfect sales assistant. And now, here's Rick and Daiana.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Conversations That Convert. Daiana, lovely to see you again. How's everything today?
Amazing. Thank you for asking. It's sunny weather here, and Easter is done, and we are back to work.
I think this is one of the first times in a long time where Easter was on the same day around the world. So yes, happy belated Easter to everybody. For my Christian brothers and sisters, He is risen, and thanks so much for being here today. So Daiana, what are we discussing today?
Today, if you want more and better leads, of course, we have a suggestion to don't run ads and to do something different instead. And we will find out together today.
And this is our series, Are Ads the Best Way to Find High Quality Leads? Now, ironically today, which is really we're doing the opposite of what the title says, don't run ads, do this instead. Well, today we're going to talk about ads. And the reason is because every builder gets to the point where they're considering running ads. And so we're going to talk about what to avoid and which platforms work best for builders. So what do you say, Daiana? Should we jump into it?
Let's go ahead and get started. So I have a question for you. When
Sure.
should a builder consider running ads?
Well, that is an excellent question, and it's a question that every builder at some point gets to, because we all think and we're told that, hey, if you want to get leads, you need to be running ads. And there is a time and place for ads, and there's also a time and place when ads should not be used. So the thing that I think is really most important is to understand is that ads are a short-term solution to a long-term problem. I'm going to say that one more time. Ads are a short-term solution to a long-term problem, meaning that, yes, you can work ads into your budget. You can run them consistently, but keep in mind that you're only going to get so much by running ads. So it should be part of a comprehensive client acquisition system, not the main component of it. So there are typically a newer builder, when they get to the point where they start business, they get a whole bunch of work because they're willing to take on every type of job. Then they start to whittle down what they want to focus on. They start to create a niche for themselves. Then the majority of their leads come from referrals and repeat customers. And then what happens is you'll grow your business up to a point, but then you're going to stop growing. And that's typically somewhere around $1 million a year in revenue, where you can legitimately year in and year out, you can sort of grind your way to about $1 million a year just from word of mouth referral business and repeat customers without doing a whole lot of marketing. Now, that will ebb and flow based on the market. So when the market starts to contract or gets a little bit tougher, you start to see those opportunities for referrals dry up. And then, of course, the knee-jerk reaction is, I need to run ads. And this is usually where builders fall down, is they will go out and they will spend a whole bunch of money not really understanding what they're doing. They go onto the wrong platforms, and they are deeply, deeply frustrated by the results, or I should say lack thereof. So normally when a builder, considers running ads, it's typically they need opportunities immediately. Now, what I would tell you is this, is that if you're doing this correctly, is that you would have a base of business built up because you've done a good job for past clients. You've got some referral work coming in. You maybe got a website coming up. You've got some organic traffic or inbound traffic coming into that website, and you're able to plug along. And so really what you want to focus on first before you get to the point of running ads is you should have a referral partner program. not only for your past clients, but also from a B2B standpoint. So if you're a builder, having a referral partners, realtors, architects, interior designers, that should be active, and it should be really a big part of your client acquisition system, in addition to your client referrals as well as repeat customers. The next thing then you want to focus on is what we call organic inbound opportunities. So these are people that are already living in your service area or moving to your service area, and they are searching for a builder that offers the services that you provide. So those are really your highest quality leads because they've already made the decision or are strongly considering moving forward with a custom home or a new kitchen or an ADU, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really when a builder should consider running ads, is that you've got these other things optimized. Prior to that, it's really a desperation move. Remember, it's a short-term solution to a long-term problem. Daiana, any thoughts from you?
Yes, I think it's best to prepare your strategy in advance and then just think on the long run, and don't just act when you need the lead. Act when you don't need the lead. And
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I just had a conversation earlier this week with a builder who said, hey, I've got 3 or 4 months worth of work in my pipeline, and then I'm struggling. You know, what do I do next? And so the knee-jerk reaction is I need to go out and run a bunch of ads. And I can tell you that's the worst time to run ads, is when you need the leads. And I understand you do get into that position, but just keep in mind, you're probably in a cash flow crunch. You're going to go out and you're going to drop a whole bunch of money on ads. You probably don't have a platform that's going to set up for it. And then ultimately, you're going to be another 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road, and you really haven't done anything to improve your situation. In fact, it's worse, because all that cash that you could have used on setting up a business-to-business referral network, setting up a new website, getting SEO optimized for those inbound organic leads, you could have invested that money there, and you would be that much farther along. So I always recommend, you know, if you're going to run ads based on desperation, it is the wrong choice. You should not ever be running ads because you're desperate. You should always be looking at running ads because you have optimized the other organic inbound referrals, as well as people looking for your services. So hopefully that makes sense. I know it's a difficult position to be in when you're desperate, but believe me, you're going to be dropping $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month running ads, and you're not going to get the results that you are looking for.
All right. So I have another question. So now, what platforms should design and build companies avoid?
So if you decide to jump into the world of paid ads, there are unlimited choices that you can get yourself into. So there's a couple of types of platforms that I would say, if you are doing design build work, meaning that you are doing projects, let's say $30,000, $50,000 and up if you're a remodeler, and obviously custom home builders can be much more expensive than that. But where you're looking for that customer who's coming to you really for your design expertise as well as your construction expertise. So we're not talking about a $5,000 or $10,000 project here. We're talking about a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 and up project here. So what I would suggest that you want to avoid is any third-party lead platform. In other words, where you are buying leads. So there are companies out there like Angie's List, or say Thumbtack, you know, is a couple of the better known ones. And you can go up as a builder and you can buy leads from them. If you want to, you know, do handyman type work, you will get some business off of those. But if you're going to do design build work, most of those leads are going to be tire kickers. They're going to be very, very price oriented, and it's not going to be a good fit for you. Now, the other big platform out there, which a lot of builders try, is Houzz Pro. And Houzz Pro is very, very similar in nature, is that you're going to get a ton of leads. The vast majority of them are going to be just absolute junk leads. And the other problem with Houzz Pro is that's a minimum 12-month commitment. And so you're going to lock yourself into a contract, and you're going to be very disappointed with the results. Again, if you're a smaller home improvement, lower price point, you know, maybe specialty remodeler, that sort of thing, yeah, those sorts of platforms can work for you, but design build, not so much. Now, the other one that's out there that I have tried a lot with, it's seems like a good idea, but just doesn't perform, is Google local service ads, so LSA ads. So this is a platform set up for, again, a local service provider. So think of a chiropractor, Daiana, or think of a dentist, or a plumbing repair company, or maybe a heating repair company, heating, air conditioning, that sort of thing. So I'm a consumer and I'm looking for a local service. So Google came up with this idea. It says, hey, I'll get you certified. And as a builder, what you do is the certification process includes providing a certificate of insurance as well as a background check. And then once that's done, you get the green check mark that says you're Google guaranteed. And then you can place yourself, your services or specific categories you can choose, and specific locations in your service area that you want to be optimized for. And then when somebody does a search for that, you'll see a local service ad. So they'll say, hey, Google guaranteed. And so you're going to pay not only for the ad placement, but you also pay per lead. So when a lead comes in, Google's going to charge an additional fee for that. Very similar to Houzz Pro, what I found is that you can get leads, but it's a huge challenge. I mean, for every 10 leads you get, you might have 3 or 4 vendors that are trying to get your business. And then you might have people that it's not even the same ad category that you're trying to go after. And it's just a whole lot of chasing and very, very few high quality leads. So Daiana, any thoughts on that?
I think it's important to choose wisely and see what's the profile of your company, and then choose what's really serving the business to move forward. And there are different platforms for different targets. So make sure you are on the right one, and choose whatever works for you. So be very well informed, and also ask a specialist who can advise what's best for you.
Agreed. And one of the things, I guess you mentioned it here, but I guess the simplicity is that the third-party lead platforms, the Google local service ads, is that it's done for a more simplistic purchase decision. Design build is very complex. There's a lot of moving parts, especially when you're going to come into somebody's home and you are going to reconfigure it, or you're going to design and build a custom home for them. There are so many moving parts. You just don't find that type of clientele that is using those platforms. And now, it's not to say that does it never happen? No, it can happen. There are exceptions. In fact, I had a client that was on Houzz for, I want to say, 2 years. The very first lead he sold $1 million custom home. Very first lead. But then in the last 2 years, he has gotten nothing from it. So yes, there is a unicorns out there that it can and does happen. But more often than not, it's too complex of a purchase, and there's so much trust involved that your buyers are not using those platforms to find a design build company. There's a lot of other factors that go into it. So let's jump over to the next question here, Daiana.
The next question: what platforms should a design and build company consider then? So what to avoid, and then what to consider.
Exactly. So we just told you what to avoid, which is really that third-party platform. So what you should consider. Okay, so Google Ads. Okay, so this is different than the Google local service ad. This is where you are running a sponsored ad, again, for specific search results. There's a lot of AI that goes into this now. And so what you do is you submit the type of projects you're looking for. You submit different types of offers. You put it into Google. Google then will use machine learning. They're going to put ads out there. And when those ads get impressions and work, Google will figure out which ones are the best ads for you. And so over time, your ads get more and more effective. Now, one thing about Google Ads that I like is that not only are you going to drive an opportunity to your website or your landing page, depending on how you set the ad up, but you're also going to create what we call like a feedback or direct traffic from that. So it gives you a lot of exposure and awareness, whereas a local service ad doesn't do that. The whole idea of getting more people to your website, if you have a really well-designed website and you can use a Google ad to get them there, is that it does create a feedback opportunity. And what I mean by that is that what we find is most of our builder partners, Daiana, they probably have somewhere between 20 to 30% of their website traffic is return visitors. So that means somebody got to their website, they left, and then they came back. And it's normally when they come back is when they get a lead. So Google Ads does give you that opportunity to create awareness, get them there where you're off of an ad platform, like again, a Thumbtack or a Angie's List or a Houzz Pro, that sort of thing. Now, the other one to consider is, I'm going to call it paid social. So this would be Meta. So we're primarily talking about Facebook and Instagram. There are different ways to use Meta in conjunction with a well-optimized search engine optimization campaign, meaning that if you have a website that's getting found through local search, also through direct search where people are actually typing in your name because they're aware of you, they're coming back to your website, you can retarget on social. You can also do some cold ads on there. But those are the two platforms that I would say, yes, a design build can work for. It's still not going to be as good of results as, say, like a direct search where somebody's already aware of you, or say an organic search where somebody, again, is finding you because you're in one of the top 10 results of their search. Those are the two, yeah, that I would recommend. Now, there's also something called Google Display Network. I would be very wary of that. Can it work for you? Yes, but it really tends to suck your budget dry. And that's all this is about, is that Google wants to get as much money out of you, or Meta, as possible. They're going to try to get you results, but these are very complicated platforms to really optimize properly. Yes, you can do it yourself. However, what we have found is that more often than not, if you're really not dialed into this day in and day out, you're going to waste a lot more money than really you're going to say get as a return on investment. So Diana, any thoughts here?
Yeah, so it's important to consider what's the best platform and what's the platform that you need to avoid, and then decide wisely. And if you don't know, just ask someone who knows and can really advise how is best to run your Google Ads, and how is best to move your business forward. And I think it's important to not wait until you need leads. Act before you need those leads.
Exactly. What you do today is you're going to see the fruits of that labor 12 months from now. Yeah. Everything takes time to develop. I mean, even if you need an ad today to fill a production slot for next week, it just takes time. It's not going to happen, that's why usually the mistake is that when you get into a crisis situation and you throw a whole bunch of money at ads, it just makes things worse because it takes time to develop. Even when you run ads, you have to go through cycles. You have to let the machine learning work. You have to then figure things out. And I want to talk about some of the challenges here now of running ads in our industry, specifically for home builders, is that we are in what, housing is considered a protected industry. So there's all these guardrails on, if you are building a spec home, that you cannot do very targeted demographics for that spec home. Now, if you're just trying to advertise for a to-be built home, meaning that you're a custom home builder, you don't have a spec built, but you're trying to find somebody who wants to build a home, so then you can help them build a home. So there are ways to get around that, but the problem is in the platforms is that so often you're fighting this protected class. So you're trying to run ads, you're trying to pick the demographic that you want to target your ads to, but then you keep getting pushback from these platforms saying, well, this is a protected class, you can't do this. And so there are ways to get around it, and you have to sort of manipulate the system. But more often than not, even trying to find people who want to build a home, you're going to be hampered by this protected class in housing. So that is a problem. Tracking return on investment is a challenge as well, because there's so many gray areas. In an ideal world, you would run an ad, a lead would click on it, they would go to a form, they would fill out that form, they would hit submit, and that would track the conversion, saying that, okay, this ad delivered this particular lead, and then you could track that lead forward. However, leads don't always act like that. So leads will come to a website, again, they leave without opting in, then they come back and they remember your name and they type you in, and then they opt in, and now they show up as a direct traffic. That's the channel they came from, because they were aware of you and they typed in your name. So your Google Analytics counted it as direct. Well, ultimately they found you from the ad campaign, but the ad campaign doesn't show that. Tracking conversions is really tricky. And so it's very difficult a lot of times to get a true return on investment. So really the better thing to look for is really dialing in your ads and looking at what is your click-through rate, what is your cost per lead, that sort of thing. And focusing on those analytics, so you're getting, again, the most amount of opportunities for the least amount of money. That's really where the focus is. And then ultimately your website is how well that's designed is going to be the focus on how well you're converting. So a poorly designed website with a great designed ad campaign is still going to perform poorly. A great website that's optimized for lead capture with a mediocre ad campaign is going to do a lot better. Again, because once the leads get to the website takes over, and you've gotten over maybe the poor offer, the way you design the ad. Now the other issue is you have these always evolving platforms. So again, it's always complicated. Machine learning. I will tell you this is that in order to do this, you're not going to go in and you're not going to have a $300 a month ad budget. You're really going to be spending $1,000, ideally more like $3,000 per month just on ads. And then if you're going to hire someone like me to manage those ads for you, you're going to pay a fee on top of that, a management fee. So this is not for the faint of heart. Again, you're going to spend the most amount of money here, typically, on your marketing for paid ads, and you're going to get the lowest return on investment, which is why it is the icing on the cake. It is the cherry on the sundae, Daiana. It should not be where you start. So are paid ads a viable option for a builder? It depends. The answer is it depends. If you have already optimized your business-to-business referrals, your business-to-consumer referrals, your organic inbound opportunities, you have a well-performing machine where you're tracking your key performance indicators, and you can confirm that when a traffic unit or a lead goes to your website, that you understand you are converting a high percentage of those, not only into a lead, but also into an appointment, then you can add ads to it, and because you have a proven system. But without that, I would say it's a mistake. It's something that is going to make things worse for you and not necessarily better. So final thoughts, Daiana.
Yeah, so I think what you said about act now for the next 12 months. So what you're doing now, make sure that you are aware that will bring new leads and clients in the next year. So basically you're working now for the next year. So I think that's very powerful to have in mind and prepare wisely. So next year, after 12 months, you already have the clients and you can move forward.
Yep. And one last note on ads. The more you spend, if you know what you're doing, the more you spend and the faster you do it, the faster you will learn. But you need a minimum of 90 days. And again, if your budget is not at least $1,000 per month per platform, meaning that if you're going to run Google ads, minimum $1,000 per month. If you're going to run on Meta, minimum of $1,000 per month there. If you want to run on both, you're spending a minimum of $2,000. Preferably, you're going to spend more like $2,000 to $3,000 per platform. You will learn that much faster. You will get that much better results. So that's the problem is that you can't just dip your toe in. You have to jump in. And if you jump in, you need to know what you are doing in order to figure this out. And then you need to make sure that you are converting on the back end. So there's a lot of moving parts here. That design build is complex. These platforms are complex as well. And they love to take your money. So just keep that in mind. They are very good at taking money. That's why, they're multi-billion-dollar companies. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful. If you would like to talk more about ads or any other way where we can show you how to attract, capture, and convert high quality leads so you can pick and choose your jobs, go ahead and click that schedule call link right below this. Go to buildaleadconverter.com, and don't forget to like and follow this particular platform wherever you're listening to this podcast. We hope you found this fruitful. And for my brothers and sisters in Christ, may the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all always. We'll see you next time on Conversations that Convert.